Hey guys, Ryu here with another video for Blender. In this one we're gonna be designing a really cool info decals that glow. And we're gonna be using Blender and Photoshop for this one. I'm actually designing decal pack for either September or October, we haven't decided yet. But it's gonna be a Blender Bros pack for tier 1, 2 and 3. It's gonna be 20 really cool info decals for displays. So I'm designing one of them with you guys and I want to show you how the process looks, okay? So now this is a file that I downloaded for free from CG Trader, and I'm gonna give you a link in the video description. It's actually the same human model that I used for our prefab course, the environment design in Blender and Photoshop, and I actually used it also for the Patreon August renders of this mega truck, okay? So I'm gonna grab this human and Ctrl+C and copy objects and paste it in here, and we're going to scale it just a little bit. Let me see how big the cube is. Yeah, that will do. And I'm going to cut the head off. I know it sounds awful, but there you go. So I'm gonna enable box cutter, and by the way, I'm gonna show you the screencast keys. And let's just chop it off and hold shift to switch it to live, and GZ and move it a little bit higher, maybe somewhere here will do. And I'm going to operations and multiply. Cool. And I'm going to remesh this with quadrimesher. So I'm going to be using quadrimesher for this. So we have about 11,000 trees here, so I'm thinking about 5,000 should do. I'm going to use adaptive quad size, and I'm actually, you know what, no, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to turn that off as well, and let's see how we're gonna do just without it. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this material off. That is really basic, okay, that is really basic, but let me see how the network's gonna look. I also need to remove this middle part over there, so let me just select one of these. Yeah, Ctrl+L. This is connected. That is actually pretty bad because I don't really need that interior here. So I'll tell you what, let's select this one, and let's just simply expand it. That's too far. And let me see, that's too far here. Now let's remove this vert, and we're going to delete vertices, and we're going to select this one. It's really difficult to see now, but if you move your canvas, you will see. Remove the verts, that's perfect. And then we're gonna select these two, Ctrl+ and remove verts. Good. Now how are we looking? We're looking much better. Now I want to see how I'm going to be looking without eyes. I think I'm going to get rid of the eyes completely, and I'm going to, you know, go with this, okay? So I'm going to remesh this one more time. There we go, that's a little bit better. And we're going to be using this one. So let's Shift Z, and what we're going to do is we're going to, so I'm going to go to modifiers, and I'm going to go and I'm going to add wireframe, and I'm going to scale it down with shift and find the sweet spot, which I assume is this one. Cool. And we're gonna be using that. Now let's apply, actually let's now run a boolean here, and let's cut the top back of the head, so we're gonna have a little bit less geo to work with. It looks a little bit cleaner, okay? And I think I'm gonna move it a little bit further deeper, so I have a scroll and GX GY and move it a little bit in. Just don't clip the ears because I want to keep the ears, okay? So GY and move it in here. There you go, perfect. Now we're gonna create some keys. All right, so I think I'm gonna go with circular keys. We could go either with circular, or we could go with a hexagon, but I think this will do. I'm gonna make it really dense, so 100. Where's my circle? there's my circle. Press F, and circle is here. My head is here. I'm going to lower it down, so Shift S and move my origin to Geo. Cool. Now what I need to do, I need to, you know, flip this, right? So it's going to be facing me. So RX90, Alt V, and I'm going to check the face orientation. Face orientation is correct. Good. And I'm going to scale it. Okay, so these are going to be my buttons, right? So I'm going to go to edit mode and inset it a little bit, and I'm going to delete that face. Okay, and I'm going to grab this piece, all right, maybe a little bit wider, and Control I and delete all the faces, and then I'm going to you go to radial array and rate 4 times. This one is also cool. I think this will do. So let's apply that. So operations and multiply, so we can delete that gizmo because Jesus. And let's scale it, right? So this is gonna be for our numbers, okay? And so we're going to first of all array this. So array this way, and we're gonna make it let's say 4 keys in a row. And then I'm gonna click on array, press A, and array this the other way. So you can with hard ops you can array it. You can actually make 5 rows. You can make 2 arrays. Okay, so you create 1 array, then press A, and you can create another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know what? We're going to actually change that. So let's go to modifiers, and let's actually lower this first array to 3 and the second one to 4, and this should be enough. 1, 2, 3. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 0 is something cool. That'll do me. Cool. Then this face is gonna be somewhere here, a little bit bigger, and kind of like this. Okay. Awesome. So now that I'm gonna be a square, let's add a plane. And by the way, let's just run the power save. Also, I can see that my Blender, I'm sorry about that, it was actually outside the recording area. My bad, guys. Hope it's gonna be alright. So RX90, and let's just collapse this because I can't see. And I'm going to scale this and move it somewhere here and make it a bit bigger. You can press Alt Z to, are we still in, there we go, Alt Z to go into kind of like a extreme mode. Make it a bit larger. I want it to fit it kind of exactly how this keypad looks. So sort of more or less size of this keypad like that. This could be a little bit bigger and kind of like this. We're gonna add some stuff to it. Cool. So let's apply scale to this plane. Go to edit mode, select everything, Shift Control B, and let's just do something like that. So select it one more time, and why I cannot select this? That is so weird. Insert this a little bit and remove the face. Cool, cool. So this one should be in the middle. So one more time, we're going to move this GX and move it a little bit here so it kind of fits. Awesome. We're gonna make it a bit smaller and gonna put it in here. Now we need numbers, so Shift A, and then we're gonna add text. Okay, so we're gonna add text here, and RX90. Remember that everything is, you know, turned around, and we need to change the font because these are default fonts that comes with Blender, and quite frankly fucking boring. So we're gonna go here and click on a folder. Now by default Blender is gonna open a location of all the fonts installed on Windows. However, occasionally you might be not able to find what you're looking for. So some of the fonts that I actually have in Photoshop are not displayed in here. I don't know why, don't ask me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my E drive and I'm gonna actually install font from my folder. All right, so I'm gonna go to my Photoshop folder, fonts, and I'm gonna install Expansiva Bold. All right, actually I'm gonna install here as well. So one more time, Expansiva and Bold. Boom, and it's gonna change the font. So now I can, you know, have fun with it. So I'm gonna press 1 and I'm going to move this number in here. I'm going to scale it, so scale it down and move it in here. So it's gonna be 1, Shift D and move it in here, and we're gonna change it to 2, and this is a bit too big, so we're gonna scale it. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna scale them both until they fit. So Shift S and origin to geo, and I'm gonna scale them on individual origins like this. Okay, till they fit. So GX and GX and move it in here. That should do. It's a little bit too high, I think. So GZ and move it down. There we go. Shift D and X, move it in here, and this is gonna be 3. And then we're gonna have select all these 3 and Shift D Y Z, move them down, and it's gonna be 4, which needs to be relocated somewhere here, and here the 0 needs to be moved somewhere here. Reset, and this one's gonna be, let's just remove it and move this one on X here. Reset and enter, right? Enter, and this enter is gonna have to be smaller, so I'm gonna move it somewhere here. And maybe this reset could be also forward, so let's just remove this and Shift D X and move it here and reset. There we go. That looks good. Now we can save this. Alright, cool, peachy. Now this frame is way too strong, okay, and there's not a problem with it. I think it should be a bit more supple because it doesn't fit with a circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to edit mode and Alt X with Mesh Machine. But before we do that, we're going to move this origin point to geometry, and then edit mode Alt X with Mesh Machine, which is going to symmetrize it. Select these, F one more time, and then what we can do is we can combine these, right? So combine these and we're gonna bevel them, alright? So there we go, and select these edges and these edges, and we're gonna be Control B in them like this, alright? And then move it to the other side, and there you go. Now you get like a supple frame, which is pretty cool, right? It's a little bit still too, you know, too wide maybe. There we go. And now we're gonna make something sci-fi out of it. So let's go to Ngon and let's just, you know, start slicing. Now we can mirror this to the other side, so it's gonna be mirrored. Here we can get a bit more creative. We can actually go from inside here like this, go here, here, and here, and press B for bevel. Make it a bit less crazy, and boom. We can mirror it to the bottom. And here on top, what we could do is simply drop like a box or 2 boxes, right? Boom, right? And there you go. Now we can have some kind of, you know, some kind of interesting maybe data here. Or what we could do is add another circle, right? And RX90, and let's just fill it up and scale this, move it in here, right? And we're going to scale it on what I call them, on X, to create kind of like a fingerprint, you know, mark, yeah. So for fingerprints, D and X here, and you know, maybe 1 fingerprint is enough. 1 fingerprint here. I assume 1 will be enough. So you're gonna be doing the right hand, right, most of the time, so it should be somewhere here on the side. And we're going to drop opacity on this one, okay, in Photoshop. I'll show you how to do it. You can just add another text, or in fact we can borrow from here, Shift D, ID recognition, or ID confirmation, ID sec. How am I gonna call it? ID sec. So it's gonna be like a company called ID sec, and put it somewhere here. And this one could be actually also inserted a bit, and before I think we do that, we need to apply scale. So Control I, apply scale, insert it a little bit, and you know, remove faces. So we got just like a spot for the fingerprint. And in fact, what we could do is borrow one of these. Oh, we can't. Actually, we can. Shift D, borrow one of these, and we're going to remove the erase and move it somewhere here. Scale it down, and it's gonna indicate where the finger needs to kind of land. So that's pretty awesome. And we need some more stuff in here, so maybe some kind of another button here to confirm. So we could actually borrow this one and make it bigger and drop it somewhere here, drop a text, and maybe not enter, maybe something else. Submit, maybe submit, there we go, right? Or start. That's gonna be better. Let's just bring my very simple and easy, kind of like a sci-fi, you know, ref pack. Now the way I'm watching, looking at references, I'm just literally bumping across and just looking for some anchor, for visual anchor that's gonna catch me, like this, for example. That looks actually pretty cool. This could be like a confirmation box or something, you know, popping up, right? So we could have a confirmation box in here and confirmation box over there, or we could do something else. Maybe something like this. That looks actually pretty cool as well. Although I prefer something more vertical like this, you know. This could be kind of cool. This is also nice, where you connect the dots with all the code, and this is actually pretty cool. I kind of like this. Well, let's grab a circle and RX90, and let's just face it and move it in here. By the way, I'm just designing it on a go, guys. So I didn't rehearse this at all, because you know, that's not how I work. So otherwise it's not fun, is it? Yeah, that's one, and then it's gonna be a different one here and different one here. We don't need an angle, we can do it with a plane. So RX90 is gonna be easier, because when you add angle, and what you need to do is we need to solidify this and you need to remove the solidifications. It's a bit more work, and I think this is gonna be simpler. So connect line here. Right, so it's gonna be a line that connects, and another one here. That kind of lights up, and there's gonna be some kind of indication here in the bottom. So maybe you could borrow this frame, okay, rotate it, right? Come on, rotate it and make it smaller and narrower, smaller, and drop it in here, and borrow the text and some different text here, right? So prox 97%. Oh shit, we don't have percentages in here. So this font doesn't have percentages, which means we need to grab something with percentages. So let me see. Let me just remove these two, okay, for a sec. And we're going to type percent here, and we're gonna delete the rest, okay? We could grab this one, I think. Let's see if it's gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna work. Proxy. So proxy, and we're gonna type a number. We can actually type a number with this one. So 97. It's gonna look like shit in it. So no, we're going to type a number with this. So proxy and 97, and then move the percentage here, and Bob's your uncle. We cheated death. We can switch the transform to cursor and try to scale it on the cursor. Should work. There we go, that's better. Proxy, there we go, that's much better. And we could have some kind of indications here on the other side as well. Also, what we could do is Shift D this. In fact, you know what? Select all of them. Shift D them and scale them on individual down here like that. I think it's gonna look much more interesting with these circles in the middle. And something here, right? Something here, I don't know, anything really. I know, kind of like a scale maybe, or something like, kind of something that resembles a scale, right? So like a framing for this. So let's just scale this and scale it some more and put it somewhere here, and just, you know, shift DZ, and it's gonna be a face proportion or something. So it's gonna be to the tip of the ear, bottom of the ear, nose, lips, there we go, and top of the head, right? So somewhere here. That's pretty cool. And I think they're a little bit too big, so we could make them a bit narrower and move them somewhere here, kind of like this, and move this one a little bit higher, okay? So it can actually matches. This one also should be a little bit higher. The way we're going to render this is really easy, okay? What you could do is you could go ahead with Viewport Render, and you just basically should turn off the overlays to do this, right? And then you can go with a Viewport Render. However, Viewport Render is going to create really bad results in terms of font and quality of an image. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead actually with a render, okay? So let's turn off the overlays and page down with the machine tools, and smart come to view, and we're going to switch this camera to something really crazy, okay? So let's say 300 millimeters, which is gonna be kind of almost like ortho. Lock it to view, move it out, and then we're going to fit it really tight in the screen, okay? Really tight, like that, okay? I'll lock it from view, and then what we need to do is we need to set the this one to kind of like a larger size, so when you create a TIFF out of it, because we're going to render as a TIFF, we can render this out, and then in Photoshop we can change the size to 248, because it's a, you know, kind of 2K size, right? I could probably use something here as well on the top. I can see that, you know, there's a bit of a space here. We could use something over there to balance off this side. What I could do is I could move this one a little bit higher, right? Click on this face, right? Set the custom orientation, select this edge and GZ or GY, GX, there we go, and move it here on this orientation. GX, come on, GX, there we go. So it's gonna be going from the top of the head here, boom, down to the lips. That's kind of cool, I like that. Cool, so it kind of covers this area here a bit better. Awesome. So now with all this set, you don't really need any lights, okay? All you need to do is just simply click render in cycles, and it's gonna get rendered really quickly. And this is all you need. That's perfectly fine. The color doesn't matter, okay? So we're gonna save it as a TIFF. That's important. You wanna save it as 16-bit TIFF, because the better quality, the higher quality, the better. And this is going to be my there we go, Decal 11, and save it, okay? And the rest of this is going to happen in Photoshop. So let's go to Photoshop, and what we're going to be using is this TIFF, right? So let's go to this folder. There we go, this one. Boom. And now what I want to do is I want to actually use the same color as I've been using before. So I'm going to very quickly load one of these previous decals, and I'm going to sample color from here, so I can have a top layer with a new color laying on top of it. But before we do that, what I want to do is I want to actually do a few things. So first of all, select the main layer, and I'm going to trace around this face, but I can see that I'm going to be getting into the zone here. So what we can do is actually select it and then deselect part of it with either lasso tool, or also with the box select holding Alt. Holds Alt will deselect, remove from the selection. This is selected, good. Okay, so now Control J to move this on top here. So in order to delete it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that top layer off, and simply one more time select this bit here, and and hold Shift, select this bit here, hold Alt and deselect this one. And this should do, and just press delete, and this should kind of work. And no, it didn't. I need to also select this one and then press delete. There you go. Control D and this should disappear. Perfect. So now I can put a mask on top of this, and I can run a gradient tool, okay? So I'm gonna grab a gradient tool with a black color. I'm going to hold shift and kind of drag it down. So it's gonna be kind of fading, but it's a bit too much. I'm gonna fade it from the top like this, just a little bit, okay? Kind of like that, and from the bottom. There we go. So it's kind of faded from top and bottom. And also what I want to do is I want to fade one of these a little bit. So I'm going to grab a brush. I'm going to drop the opacity here to 50%, alright? I'm going to create a mask here, and I'm going to click on this one once, right? So it's going to create like a faded effect here, alright? Like this, right? And so these are going to be confirmed, and this one wasn't already confirmed, which is, you know, what's this proxy is about, right? And this should work. I'm gonna fade out start because we already started the operation, so it's gonna be faded out a little bit. Okay, cool. So now with this one, I'm gonna save it as a PSD, right? So I'm gonna save it as a PSD. Okay, Decal 11. So now I'm going to change the color of them. Okay, I'm gonna create two layers, one here and one here. And I'm going to clip them with Alt, holding Alt and clicking between them. And I'm going to use the color I copied from the previous, from this, one of my decals that I created already. And I'm going to select them all. Actually, I'm going to save it first one more time. Right click and merge visible. And I'm going to save it as PNG, okay? So save as and PNG. Peachy. So now I'm going to go back to Blender. I'm going to create a plane. I'll add a color to it, just regular material, make it really dark, okay, and rough, yeah, good. Go to look depth, and my setting in look depth, I have a custom HDRI, which is like a really flat one. So if you want to add a custom HDRI here to look depth, click on this one, and you can install here, okay. So I got this one, it's a really flat light, which is something I like. Because the default one here is just absolute fucking garbage. It's just, you know, I think it's one of these. Which one? It's this one. It's just, you know, it doesn't give you good reading and stuff. And we're going to go to Decal Machine and open the decal panel and go to Info, clear it, set the padding here to 4 pixels, load the image that we are about to bake, and I think it was, that's the one, PNG 11, there you go. Open image and create decal. And now you see it's a little bit more faded here in this area, okay? It could be actually a little bit more visible, but you know what, that will do. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the color of it. So I'm gonna grab one of the decals I created before because I really like the color, and we're gonna make it glow, okay? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna click on the decal, go to Material tab, scroll down, go to the emission here, and I'm gonna copy this hex, okay? Control C. Go to this decal, alright? Click on the emission and change hex to this one and leave it at default 1, and boom, there you go, you're done. Okay, now the only thing I didn't do with this decal, and I can see I made a mistake, I didn't resize it, so I need to do it again. So image size and 248, so they're gonna actually match the size of other decals, and I'm going to do it again. So save as and PNG. So I'm gonna remove this one, clear, load, and one more time, this one, boom. It's gonna be a little bit smaller. There we go, that's better. So I don't want them to be too big, you know, there's no point, right? So we already have this color copied, so all I need to do is go here, copy the hex, then select the decal, select the folder, and I'll put it in, and add to Decal Library. And then, you know, let's make this bigger, okay? So let's make it longer. So GX, and make it bigger, right? And I'm gonna show you all the decals. So I'll click on the plus, and they should pop all of them. And there you go. Just make it smaller. And there's our decal. So there you go. That's how you can create really cool, you know, sci-fi decals for your designs. And this could be a fantastic keypad for some kind of an entrance or something. Now, I would encourage you to join our Patreon, because our Patreons are getting spoiled. We're getting some really freaking amazing tutorial coming up next month. It's going to be an awesome sci-fi truck. So it's going to be the whole process. It's going to be shown from cube, all the design, modeling, rendering, assembling of this of the scene, Photoshop, everything, the whole jazz. we already have stuff ready for September as well. And September, I'm not gonna tell you what's coming in September, but it's gonna be fucking amazing. So stay tuned. So this pack is gonna be coming either September or October. Haven't decided yet. So we will see. But you know, it's not done yet, so I'm still doodling. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you soon.